Hi, everybody. So today I'm here to talk about my ayahuasca experience. I'm just going to shoot this raw. There's going to be no editing, there's going to be no fancy stuff, no notes, anything. And I'm just going to basically talk about my experience. I gotta tell you, it was probably the craziest thing I've ever gone through. And I've gone through a lot in my life. I've experienced a lot. It was probably one of the most terrifying, but one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever experienced. Um, when we first several weeks ago, one of my guides, Lori, told me that I need to do this plant. And, I've done a lot of research about it. I've had friends that have done ayahuasca, but it never really called to me. It never really was one of my things. And especially once I got out of being a partier and with drugs and everything like that, I really didn't want to put anything in my body. And I was always one of those people, and I'm still to this day, I still firmly believe of not putting things in your body in order to figure things out. That when you understand who you are and yourself, that you will be able to not need these things. And a lot of times we forget that we have the power within us to, figure what we need to work on and transform ourselves and to raise our consciousness so that we can adapt and grow in our evolution. But there are plants like ayahuasca that help bring us to that point. And so I've always been, you can ask my students, especially even Caleb, that I've always been against things to put in your body because it's, for that very reason. And so when I was told by one of the guides that I work with, Lori, that you need to do ayahuasca, I'll be honest with you, it scared me. For those of you who are just watching this and don't know who I am, I'm Raina, and I've been teaching consciousness for most of my life. And one of the things that happened to me recently was I was very ill for the past 6 years, especially the past 3 years. I had a virus that was unchecked. We didn't know about it, and it just kind of ravaged my body and almost killed me. And the last 2 years, I've been on Chinese herbal formulas and medication and everything like that to kind of repair my body. And I just didn't think I was there yet. So when I was called to do this, and Lori said, at the time I was being called Miss Raina, and I'll tell you why I used to be called Miss Raina and now I'm called Raina. But it was one of those ideas where I was like, well, is my body healthy enough for this? I mean, this is a plant that's supposed to transform you. And from what I hear, people throw up and people, kind of get lost in themselves and everything. And with all the heart issues and everything that I had due to this virus, I was really, really nervous to do this because I wasn't sure honestly, if this was going to kill me. And and it was and I got to be honest. So as the weeks came, as we finally got to there, I was taking CBD every day. I was kind of shaking in my boots. I was kind of just trying to breathe through it and just saying, there's a reason for this. I'm being led here. I have to be open to this because I started to notice I started to shut down. And this process actually started about a month beforehand because I noticed that things before I got called to do ayahuasca, I noticed that things in my life were crumbling. I was becoming moody. I was becoming aggravated. I was dealing with all sorts of stuff. I started pushing my family and friends away because I needed space. I needed to understand who I was and what was going on in my life. And when I push away from people, that means I need clarity in what's going on. And so this process of letting go of attachments and things dying in my life and stuff started happening beforehand. And I was going through some immense emotional pain and just crying all the time. And so when I got to, down here in Miami where we did it, and the place, let me tell you, was absolutely fabulous. The people, the shaman that was there and the shaman woman, I guess, the medicine woman, they were, and all the volunteers were absolutely fabulous. I don't remember the name of it. I will get the name and put it down in the link below in case any of you guys are interested. But when we got down there, I remember pulling up into this house and it was really dark and it was in a whole, like it was like you missed the turn in. And right away I noticed that I started being like, okay, like this is in a secluded thing. And I got it to a point. But the moment I got there, I interacted with the shaman and I felt like he kind of snubbed my question, and I took it personally. I got upset at that, and I was like, and I got into this man versus woman type of idea, like, oh, what you, because as soon as you get there, they told that women are on one side, men are on the other side, and I'm non-binary and gender fluid, and I don't believe in gender and all that stuff. So when people do separation, that's hard. That was hard for me to take, because I was like, well, now I'm not going to be able to talk to Caleb at all, see what's going on with him, and and I don't mind having experiences on my own. I do it a lot, but it was just something that I wanted to do with Caleb. So right off the bat, I started into judgment. And I started, like, I was mad at the shaman for kind of blowing me off with my question, and then the separation. And I was like, all right, Miss Raina, you have to relax. You have to be able to relax and just accept what it is. This is their ceremony. This is the way they do things. And you have to let go of control. You have to let go of this ego. And right then and there, I started to relax a little bit. I said, you know what, this is probably good. I don't know what to expect, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized I had to release. And so during that night, they said, well, we're going to start off the first timers with a half of a shot, and everybody else gets a full shot. Well, the first shot I took, and I went in the chair, laid there, and I started sitting there. And about maybe a half hour later, 45 minutes later, I started looking, and I was like, is it kicking in yet? Is something, like, I started knowing shifts, and I was like, okay, well, the plant's in me. I know this is medicine. I know it has a spirit. So let's talk to it. Let's see what I can figure out. And as I started talking to it, I started noticing shifts in my body and my energy, and I started noticing it started coming on. And during that time, I went into panic mode because it started coming on really strong. In my younger years, as far as when I was in high school, I used to do LSD all the time. And I stopped doing it because I didn't like the way it made me feel. I didn't like the way it made me feel trapped and out of control. And once you're in the trip, you can't get out. And so I tended to go more towards things like ecstasy, because it was a very loving, gentle type of idea. And if something was going on and I needed to go someplace or do something, I would be sober enough to be able to handle myself. And I didn't like how LSD made me feel insecure and kind of question everything. So when this started happening, I was like, oh my God, this is like LSD. This feels like it's coming on really strong. And I started to fight it. And I started trying, and they said, and one thing that they tell you to do is not to not fight it, because the more you fight it, the more chaos and the more pain and suffering it happens. Well, it's a hard thing to do, because your anxiety starts going up, and it's very intense at first. And that lasted for about 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden it just dropped off and died off. And I was like, wait, what just happened? It was like really intense for 15 minutes, and then it just stopped. And I remember I was sitting there just talking and waiting, because the next time you get a cup was at 2:30. The first cup was at 11. The second cup was at 2 or 2:30. And I was remembering talking. I was like, well, this isn't, this was like, is that it? Is that all that I was supposed to experience? And I remember I was just talking to myself and just kind of like judging everything. And then all of a sudden they're like, well, you want to get the second cup? And I said, okay. So Caleb and I got the second cup, we took it, and we started judging what was going on. We're like, well, that was kind of not, like, it came on strong for a minute. And within a few minutes of drinking the second cup, it just came right back. And I mean, it came hard. And I started to panic. I was like, oh my God, I got to sit down. I have to sit down to relax. And it just overwhelmed me. And I had to work through that. It was very hard on me. It was a very uncomfortable. It was a very uncomfortable feeling for me. I didn't like to lose control, and that's one of the things that ayahuasca taught me this weekend. And we'll get more into control with the second date. But I didn't understand how much control I was fighting against until the second day. But I was sitting there trying to breathe through it and trying to stop it. And I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this, because I was seeing all sorts of shapes and geometric patterns and just going places. And then the shaman sat down, and he started shaking the rattle and started talking and chanting. And it just became stronger and stronger. And I said, okay, just breathe through it. I guess we're going with this. And then all of a sudden, everything stopped. Like, everyone just dropped away. all of life just dropped away, and everything was just geometric patterns. And all I see, instead of seeing people sitting around me, I saw grid lines all over the place, like the whole, like everything that were our reality that we call this third dimension, which is a grid. And that's all I saw. And so everything was stripped away. And then all of a sudden the medicine man was in front of me, and I knew he was sitting down because part of me was still conscious, knew I was sitting in a chair and I was holding my pound puppy, and we were, and I knew people were around me, but in my other reality, everything was gone except me and him. And he started saying, he's like, it's funny that you came to the fire. He's like, that you found your way to the fire, because fire is very transformation. You're fighting it right now, but you need to let go and go with this. He's like, you're very old and wise, but you have a lot to learn still. You need to learn to let go. You need to learn that there's more out there. Don't ever stop learning. And I could hear that he was talking directly to me, even though I knew he wasn't. And there was a bunch of people. It was just tunnel vision, and it was like a part of him just split off and just sat with me. And I said, okay, you know, and then all of a sudden he started talking some more and chanting. And then all of a sudden there was people that came up behind me, energies that came up behind me, and started using these fans, like these palm leaves, and started waving them at me. And I knew that nobody was actually behind me, but I felt the presence of beings come up behind me and start fanning me with stuff and moving energy around and all this stuff. And I was like, wow, this is crazy, because I could not tell any reality from anything. The only thing that kept me grounded was I brought a pound puppy that my sister sent me for my birthday, and I still love pound puppies, by the way. I don't care how old I get. And that was the only thing that grounded me, that I knew that. So everything that was happening, I was like, okay, this is what needs to happen. I need to get through this. I need to go through it. And then all of a sudden it just came down. And it seemed at the time like forever, but it was such a short time. And then all of a sudden I got up, I was able to get up, move around, and they were doing like a healing on people. And so I sat down and I was sitting there and I was like, wow. And I'm talking to myself and I'm like, you know what? I'm a judgmental prick. And I said, what? And I was like, what did I just say? I was like, wow, I am a judgmental prick. I came in here judging the shaman. I came in here judging the experience. I came in here fighting it. I came in here, I'm supposed to be doing this to heal. And I'm supposed to be doing this for a reason. And all I came in was with judgment. So I was like, wow. And then I just started crying and crying and crying. And I realized that I needed to let go of a lot of things. I was like, what has become of, like, I'm a teacher of judgment and emotions and consciousness and everything. And the last couple of years of being ill and just fighting with Caleb all the time, and just everything just sent me right back into this world of judgment. And the rest of the day, the rest of the night, once it came down, I sat around and they were playing songs, and I couldn't understand the guy. He was speaking Spanish, but it was so beautiful. He was just singing songs in Spanish, and I could understand the words even though I didn't understand what he was saying because it was in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. And I was just like, wow, I was like, I need to get back to this. I miss this. I was like, I needed this. I needed to connect with myself again, because the last 3 years I've been sitting on the couch over here, just watching TV because I've been so ill and just fighting with Caleb all the time. And it just became too much. And the rest of the night was just a beautiful night. And I just kind of realized that, okay, well, yeah, it was intense. I didn't like it at first. But I liked this part, and I really just liked the rest of the night. So we had the rest of the night till about 8 o'clock in the morning, or 6 o'clock in the morning. Sorry, because they left early. Where they closed down the circle, they closed down the ceremony and everything, and we went home. I slept for about 2 hours and woke right back up from 8 to like 10, and I woke right back up and I couldn't go back to sleep. And finally, Caleb got up. We ate a little something, and I was like, well, wow, this is going to be tough to do this again tonight. And I started stressing out. I was like, man, do I really want to go through that again? That was really rough on me. This was really, like, I really didn't enjoy I call it the crazy train, or the clown house, like the fun clown house that's just insane, that takes you where you have no clue where you're going. It's just patterns unfolding constantly. And I was like, do I really want to go through that again? So I was getting out of the shower, and I noticed that the shower was kind of slippery, and my unconscious mind made me slip, and I threw out my back. And I started saying, well, Caleb, maybe this is a sign. Maybe I shouldn't be going. And so what was funny was later on, I learned that my ego made me slip in the shower to throw out my back to stop me from doing the day 2. And I'm kind of glad, because I was really questioning. I said, Caleb, I really wonder, maybe I shouldn't be doing the second day. Maybe my health can't take it. Maybe this is, Lori or Makrana's way of telling me, hey, you shouldn't be doing this second day. And then just something kept pushing me towards it. And I was like, I got to do this second day. I came here to do this. I got to do this. And so we went, and my back hurt, and they did this like lotion on my back, and it kind of relieved the pain for a little while, but I was nervous. I was freaking out. And so they called us up for the first cup at about 11 o'clock. And this is day 2 now. And I did something that I normally don't do. I don't believe in lying. I don't believe in cheating, but I came into this, and when I took the shot, I saw that he filled it up all the way to the top. He gave me a full dose, and so I only drank 3/4 of it, and I went to put it back, and the lady saw me, and she's like, no, drink all of it. And I was like, oh, I did? I was like, oh, I thought I drank it all. And so I was like, shit, I have to, excuse me, I don't mean to swear. I was like, oh man, I have to drink this. And so I drank it, and right from there, I was like, man, I did not want to take a full shot. I wanted it to be less. I didn't want to go through that again. And then I felt guilty because I lied. I was so afraid of the ayahuasca and what I was about to go through that my body, I hurt myself, and then I tried to cheat the ceremony, and then I felt bad because I lied, because that's just not who I am. I pride myself on being truthful and honest. And in that moment of fear, I came into that. And it was a wonderful lesson, because in a minute I'll tell you why. But so I went to the bathroom, and right away, like, it started to come on, and I panicked. I went into full panic mode, and I was trying to run away. I was trying to escape. I was like, no, I don't like this. That feeling's coming back again. And I started to panic, and I started to and I ran into the bathroom, and I heard in my head, where are you going, Raina? Where are you going? And I said, I don't know. I'm trying to get away from this. So I ran out into the field by the pool, and where there's an area where people throw up. They have they dug holes and a huge grassland. And so I ran out there. I was trying to escape. I thought I could outrun the dose that I just took. And I kept running, and I kept hearing them say, where are you going? You need to, where are you going? You can't outrun this. And finally, I was like, I went to go by the fire to sit by my chair, and I was like, no, I can't do that. I can't go there. And so I brought an air mattress. And with that air mattress, I put sheets on. I brought my big comforter, a pillow, and because we were out in a wooded area and it was very they had a lot of dew and moisture out in the air, my sheets and my beds, everything was soaked. It felt like someone just took water, like it was rained on all night and all day. And I thought it would be dried out from the next day or from the day earlier because it sat out in the sun all that. Nope, still just as wet. And so I just was walking, and I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know what to do with myself right now. I'm like, I don't like this. I hate this. And they're just like, down now. And I was like, what? And they're like, lay down now. And I was like, on that? I was like, on my mattress, it's wet. And they're like, lay down. And so I just went down to the ground, and I was just sitting there like, okay, I got to breathe this out. Breathe, deep breath. And it just kept getting harder. And I was like, I don't like this, guys. I don't like this guy. And then they said, you need to die. And I was like, what? And I was like, and they're like, you need to die right now. You have to die. If you want to become the teacher and you want to become the person that you're meant to be here, if you want to truly fulfill your mission and purpose here, you need to die now. And I was like, but I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I'm afraid to die. They're like, die now, ascend now. You need to ascend, or you will, and I was like, I don't want to die. I was like, I got things to do here. And I could feel my heart pounding. It was like, if you've ever experienced someone with a heart attack, that's what I was experiencing. I could feel my heart on the verge of a heart attack. And I was like, do, 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 do. And it was like, and I was like, I don't want to die. I was like, Caleb depends on me, my mom. I was like, I don't, and they're like, you need to die. None of that matters. You need to die now and ascend. And I kept trying to get up, and they're like, where are you going? Die now. And I was like, no, no, no. And I got up again to go get up, and I couldn't get up. It was like shackles on me and weights, and they're like, you need to die now. And I got up for a third time, and they're like, die. And I just went, put my head down, and I was like, and my heart's pounding, and I could feel it. It's about to give. And I was just like, I just accepted it. I was like, I have to die. I was like, I have to leave this world. I have to die. And so I accepted it. And right there, my heart stopped, and I just went, doof. And in that moment, there was this energy and this light, blue and white, and just flashing, and I was still me, but there was nothing around me but just energy and consciousness and thought, and I was just like, I'm okay. I was like, I'm okay. I'm dead, but I'm okay. And I was like, you know what? I was like, Caleb's okay. My mom's okay. I was like, everyone's okay. And this energy, and they're like, now here's the information. And all this information just started coming into my head, like as if they were shooting it. And it just was rolling and going on. And I just felt so strong and so intense. Like I was unstoppable. And they're like, now we're going to teach you who you really are. And they're like, you're God. You are a God. You are the creator. You are a creator, and you can create anything you want. You are the master, and you are a teacher. You are a teacher now. You are God. You are consciousness, and you must come to love. And I just start crying. Excuse me. And I just started crying, and I could feel my human body crying. And I was like, I am God. I am a creator. I am consciousness, and I am a teacher. And I kept repeating that over and over. And as I was repeating it, I got stronger and stronger, and more energy came, more information came. And then I was just screaming. I was like, I'm a God. I am a creator. And I was like, and I am a teacher, and I must come from love. I was not coming from love. I was coming from anger. I was coming from pain. I was coming from one aspect. I only worked in the feminine. And I was like, I need to encompass both, because if you guys understand the work that I do, I'm sure many of you will view my YouTube channel, and I hope that you guys do. But I always worked in the feminine aspect, the negative aspect, the one that most people are afraid of. So that is about self-reflection and working through emotions and working on that aspect so that we can grow. And I only worked on that aspect. That's why I was called Miss Raina, because Miss Raina was a spirit guide and a soul sage, and I'm still a spirit guide and a soul sage, but I worked only on the feminine aspect. I never worked on the masculine side. I never worked on the positive aspect and that. And then they're like, you are no longer Miss Raina. You are now Raina. And that sound, Raina, came through me. And it was just Raina, Raina, Raina. And I just saw the word Miss Raina, like, because I visualized, I could see the word like Miss Raina in front, and the mist just drizzled away, and it moved in front and just said Raina. And then all of a sudden I saw my logo and everything. It said, I am evolution. You are now Raina. You are complete. You are bound to both masculine and feminine energies, because you are a God, and you will come to love. You will be a servant of love, and you will teach everybody about love from here on out. And I said, and I just was crying, and I was like, yes, I am a servant of love. I am of consciousness, and I am a servant of love. I am a teacher of love. I will teach love to people. I will love it because they deserve my respect, because I got into a way for a long time. Well, Miss Raina got into a way for a long time where she grew to start to push away from people, because all she could see, working in only the negative aspect, the feminine aspect of things, the only thing I could see was people's judgments and anger and shame. I couldn't see, their happiness. I couldn't see that they had potential to be more, and that they were going through. I knew that everybody had their own journey, and everybody everybody was doing their best with whatever information that they were capable of understanding due to where they're at in their conscious evolution. I knew that, but I didn't get it here. And now I got it. I felt the masculine and the positive blend in, because at being gender fluid and non-binary, that's what I'm about. I'm about being, I'm in a woman's body, but I have very masculine features as well. And I encompass both of them. And I just felt them grow and merge to one. And I felt I changed. I grew. I was so powerful. I was so unstoppable. I realized I couldn't die. Even if this physical form died, that it didn't matter. And that Caleb was okay, and my mom was okay, my sister, and everybody was okay. And I just knew I became the teacher that I needed to be. I knew that I was God. I knew that I was a creator, that I was a master at what I could do, and I could create anything. And in that moment, I said, you know what? Let's create. Let's go and create things. And I just started creating. And the trip, like everything that was shapes and all this stuff, I started creating. And I started saying, we're going to do this. Boom, this is happening. And I started watching just pop up and just like creating. And I was like, wow, it's that easy. All I got to do is really, and it's like creation comes from love. They're like creation, when you come from here, the heart, because mentalism, yes, is creation, but it doesn't create and go and grow unless it comes from here. And the only access to the Akashic records and everything else is love. You want to access who you are. You want to evolve. You want to access the universal information. It has to come from here. And the universe and your soul and your spirit, because it's all one anyways, understands that if you're not coming from love, you don't get that. And so there's so many people that I see claim that go to the Akashic records and stuff, but I know that they don't, because they can't match the energy. And it was, the key is the heart to everything. And I just saw that so clearly. And once I accepted that I must be a teacher of love, not a teacher of shadows anymore, not Miss Raina, the shadow work, the spirit guide of shadow work, but now seeing that who I truly am, because you're God as well, whatever you want to call it, universe, source. If you don't like the word God, I could, before this transformation, I never liked the word God, because it always had an association to, religion and what religion has done. And I never liked the holidays because it was a constant reminder. And I don't feel that way anymore. I used to be a germaphobe before this. I don't care about germs. I really don't. Like Caleb used to have to wash everything. I would wash my hands constantly. I never was around people, touching, hugging people. That's all gone. And the next thing I want to test is my claustrophobia. My anxiety's gone. Like when Miss Raina died, all of that died with all the attachments, all the ideas, all the frustrations, everything died. And I realized, because I always knew that we were God, or universe or source, whatever you want to call it. I always knew that, but I never got it until now. Like I fully feel it in my energy now, and I feel more unstoppable than ever. It is so powerful and amazing. And I realized that every single person here is the source or universe or God, whatever you want to call it. And it's not out there. It's you just reflecting in so many different perceptions. And I've taught that work for so many years, but I never felt that until now. So it's honestly I just cried and cried and cried and cried so hard. And I was crying and screaming and punching things, and just, I am a servant of love. I am a spirit guide. I am a God. I am a creator, and I am of love. And I just kept saying that continuously. And I said, I will serve love from here on out. I will be a person of love. I will only be of love, because love is consciousness, and that is what we are here to learn. Every single person is trying to find themselves to love. And that is what we have to return to, is self-love, self-awareness, that we are the source, creator, God, whatever you want to call it, and that the only thing that's important is love. Nothing else matters. And I was a very simplistic person anyways. I was never big into things and everything. But Miss Raina's gone, and now what's left is Raina. And this soul that I am, this experience that I am, this person that I am now is beautiful. It is amazing. It is empowering. I have more knowledge than I ever did before, and I know how to access it even greater than I did before. And it was like, I just felt I always, as Miss Raina, I always felt like I was on an island. Like it was all the people, and and it was me, and now I'm just connected to everything, just the people, and I'm not, I don't like, I haven't got mad. I mean, I know it's been a couple of days, and yes, there will be times where, I understand that this stuff does wear off, like the feeling, and it's up to us to continue that ceremony, to continue that growth, so that we can, take the lessons that we learn and live that way. Because that's why a lot of people continuously go back to ayahuasca, because they realize that about them, and then they go back to their old patterns. And so I know that some of this will wear off, but the information that I got, and the vows that I made to my own soul, because I realized that I'm God. I'm the universe. I'm the source, and I'm powerful, and all that matters is love. And if I'm going to be the teacher and the spirit guide and the soul sage that I need to be, then I need to come to love, because that's the only way I'm going to help people. And I can pass on all this information, but if I don't come from that place, then the information isn't there. And I've always been known as a tough teacher. As Miss Raina, I'm tough, and I still will be tough, but I'm going to be tough in a different way now. And I've realized that. And it was the most, and I'm not lying to you, it was the hardest, scariest experience of my life. Death, I kept fighting it. I gripped it. I just, and when I understood, when they realized that I understood what my mission and purpose was and what I needed to do, and I've accepted who I was, seeing truth of who I am and what we're here and everything. All of a sudden, the trip came down, and the ayahuasca came out, and I picked up my head, and everybody came back and stuff. I was able to realize, like, I felt my breath come back into my life. Like I was like, and I was like, oh, I'm here. And I was like, oh, I'm wet. I was laying on a wet sheet, on a wet pillow, underneath covers that were completely wet. I had snot under my nose. I'm sorry. I know that's gross. I was crying so much. And I was like, wow, I'm back. And I was like, this is amazing. That was the craziest, hardest thing I have ever experienced. And so I got up, I got my blanket, I sat by the fire, and then they asked for, and that was just between 11 and 2. They asked for a second cup, and I said, I don't need it. I know and when I was looking at the sky, I was like, I'm God. I'm the universe. I'm the creator. I can do anything I want. And now that I'm connected to love, and I realize that, because I was questioning if I was truly, like, I knew from a young age, my spirit guides, Laura and Mock, would tell me, well, you're a guide, you're a spirit guide, you're a soul sage, and you have to learn these things. But I always questioned it, because there was just times that I would falter so much that I would be like, well, why am I this angry if I'm this guide? And why did I, if I had, and why am I so tough? Where's the love? And I needed to get to that point. I needed to crash and burn, to die on my bed, my air mattress there. And I did. I know I did. I died there. I physically, emotionally, mentally, and soully died on that bed. And when I came back, I was reborn as Raina. And so for all of you that knew me as Miss Raina, I thank you, but now I'm Raina, and I have a lot to teach. I have a lot to share, and I hope that our journeys together, you will teach me as well, and we can share in your journey, because your journey is my journey is your journey, and it's just the most amazing thing to be one. And having, I got this as a gift for my birthday. And, I've had many lives in ancient Egypt, and I used to be King Tut. And when this came in, I knew that I had to learn to balance both masculine and feminine energy, because I always worked. And my body was there because, being non-binary and gender fluid, there'd be times you could even hear it in my voice. You hear my voice fluctuate. Sometimes it sounds more masculine. Sometimes it'll sound more feminine. And you could see it in my mannerisms, but now it's just one. No gender, no right side or left side, no masculine. It's just one. And I'm telling you, it's the most powerful. After the ceremony was done, I walked up to the shaman and the medicine woman, and I apologized. I said, I need to apologize to you guys. I need to tell you that I'm sorry, because I tried to cheat you. I dishonored your tradition, and I dishonored you guys by trying to cheat and lie to you. And thank you for holding me accountable and making me go through this. And I appreciated it. And they just smiled. They had big smiles, and they're like, we understand. Sometimes it's hard to go through that because you're afraid. And going back to the control, remember in the first day I was fighting it, and when he said, you try to control things, Miss Raina did. I tried to control my experience. And once I realized that the control was stopping me from loving, the control was stopping me from getting to this point that I'm at now. Now I don't feel that ayahuasca is something that I need to do again, but if it ever calls to me again, I will be open to it. I won't fear it. I will welcome it. I will welcome whatever the plant has to teach me. And that's how I look at it now. So that was my journey. I didn't get sick. A lot of people were getting sick throughout the night. I didn't get sick. I never got nauseous at all. It just, that wasn't for me, because I purge a lot. I do a lot of juicing, health food stuff here, and I cry and I purge a lot on my own as a way of healing constantly. So my body didn't need to throw up. But it was, honestly, people, I recommend this for anybody. Like, I know it's going to be tough and it sounds scary, especially, doesn't mean you're going to die like me, but your own journey is going to take you to wherever you need to be. And honestly, no matter how painful, because ayahuasca, to me, the way I view it now, is meant to make you suffer, because we are here to suffer, to learn, to love, to learn, to realize that you are a source, God, creator, and you have to come back to love. You have to realize that you are love and consciousness in that. And until you get it here, you may understand it here, but until you get it here and truly accept that, then you must go through constant pain and suffering. And when I died on a wet mattress and sheets, snot, and I died by myself. And when I was reborn, I was born connected to everybody. So I highly, I highly recommend it to everybody. Don't be afraid of it. Don't fight it. Accept your journey for where you need to go. It's the most amazing thing that I've ever experienced. Tough. Hard isn't insane, or not even insane. Intense, I should say. Intense isn't even the word for it. That's too light of a word. But the most beautiful experience once you come out of it and understand. So, all right, guys, that's my journey. I am Raina now, and if you guys have any questions or anything else, I would really love to hear about it. But anyways, if you're on your journey with ayahuasca or just on your journey, I wish you many blessings, and I will see you guys soon. Thank you so much.